us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go to public comments, two things for me. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Ramos. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you representing community development.
The Community Redevelopment and Housing Commission.
Agency. And then also, out in the audience, we have a very special guest with us. And would you please stand, Boy Scout Louis Doe from Troop 279. He is working on 2 badges today. 1 badge in citizenship in the community and communication. We want to welcome you. Let's give him a hand. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now moving. Does any member of the public have any comments on non-agendized items? And I think we have one. Okay, Dale Helvig.
Yeah, Dale Helvig. Just want to say good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I like what you guys do. You know, you're interested in the preservation of Santa Ana. You do a good job at it. And I always like coming here and hearing about some of the homes that have some very unique history behind it. So the other reason I'm here is during the course of looking at the 2525 EIR, I went through the general plan and the different elements in the general plan. And I came across a section that I'd like to read to you. You probably read it already, but just wanted to get it out there on the table because I think it's pertinent to kind of like where you guys stand and hoping for your continued support, even if it's just an individual support versus a committee support or a commission support. It's from the housing plan element. It says, historic neighborhood preservation. Santa Ana residential, commercial, and industrial areas that have cultural or historical significance to the community. Residential neighborhoods include, but are not limited to, French Park, Floral Park, Wilshire Square, East Side, Washington Square, and Hettinger Park residential neighborhoods. What's important is it's not limited to just those neighborhoods. The city is also known for its historic Mexican barrios, including Logan, Lacey, Delhi, Santa Anita neighborhoods, which date back to the 1880s. Several of these are recognized as historical districts, while others are not. In addition to preservation strategies for individual structures, the city could explore strategies to identify and preserve neighborhoods or elements thereof that are locally considered worthy of preservation efforts, but not necessarily individually eligible for formal state or national historic designation. CEQA goes on to say that just because a property is not designated by the state or local agencies, historical resources still exist within the city as identified by our general plan. So I think it's safe to say that over the 1,100 homes that are in Park Santiago that are over 50 years old, 250 of them are over 75 years old, it brings that park or that area as an historical significant resource, or a historical resource essentially is how the CEQA categorizes it as. And so I'm hoping that you guys take that into consideration. And now, like I said, if you can't come out as a commission and support us, I hope to see you at the Planning Commission and support us at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Okay, moving right along, this is now time for our consent, for commission to consider matters under the consent calendar. A would be the minutes, approval of the minutes for July 19th, Minutes from the adjourned meeting of August 2nd. The excused absence of Commissioner Leo. And D, the Historic Preservation Agreement, 2018-1 Mill Act, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement with the City of Santa Ana on property located at 1110 South Parton Street for Glenn C. Gavin, applicant. Is there a motion?
I would move approval, but I have an amendment to that. I was not able to attend the August 2nd meeting. I did let the secretary know that ahead of time. So should that be added to the excused absences?
We just adjourned. There was no absence at all. We didn't even conduct a meeting on that. Okay.
When so many people learned that you weren't here, why, we wound up canceling the meeting.
So that there's no amendment, all right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so I move approval, and then we need a second.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Schaefer, second by Commissioner Rush. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
With the, you have to abstain. You weren't at either
Oh, sorry.
one. With the abstention of Commissioner Ramos. Okay? Okay. Motion carried. Now for communication disclosures. Okay? Commissioner Hidrogia.
Madam Chair, on Sunday, the chair and Commissioner Marashi and I went out and visited all 8 properties that are up for consideration today, and we spoke to most of the homeowners. Not all.
Okay. Any other disclosures?
I have a couple of disclosures.
Yes.
I will be abstaining from items number 2, which is the 2108 North Heliotrope, and item number 3, the 2013 North Heliotrope, and item number 6, the 2203 North Flower, all because of the proximity variable.
Okay, I've got 2, and what was the other one?
2, 3, and 6. Both on Heliotrope and the Flower.
Okay, anyone else?
Well, what is the, remind me, what is the limitation on, what is it, 500 feet? Okay, I'm all right. The one on South Parton, which is in Wilshire Square, I believe that's much more than 500 feet from me, so that's not a problem.
Okay, can we just modify minutes to have it abstain from, it's on the consent calendar. You say, is it more than?
No, there's no reason for me to abstain.
He said it's farther than 500 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't get further.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. All right, any other disclosures? If not, moving right along. This is the time and place for public hearing on item number 1 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-15, Historic Register categorization number 2017-14, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement 2017-12 for the property located at 2011 North Ross Street. Staff will now do a presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The applicants tonight, on tonight's agenda, are requesting that the following structures be listed on the Santa Ana Register of Historical Properties and that a Mills Act agreement be executed with the city. Before I begin tonight's presentation, I did want to state that given the number of items on tonight's agenda, I will be providing a much more condensed presentation for each item than the Commission is accustomed to. However, I'd be happy to provide more details after each presentation if the Commission so chooses. As a quick overview, the categorizations we'll be seeing tonight fall into 2 categories, the contributive and the key. If you recall, to be eligible as contributive, A building, structure, object, or site must contribute to the overall character and history of a neighborhood or district and be a good example of period architecture. To be eligible as key, a building, structure, object, or site has to have a distinctive architectural style and quality, be characteristic of a significant period in the history of the city, or be associated with a significant person or event in the city. So item number 1 is being referred to as the Dixon Morris House, and it's located at 2011 North Ross Street within Floral Park. The property is a one-story single-family residence constructed in 1927 by W.H. Dixon in the Spanish colonial revival style. It is recommended that the property be listed on the register for its exemplification of the distinguishing characteristics of the Spanish colonial revival style, and because it contributes to the overall character of the history of Floral Park. Given its characteristics and its contribution to the Floral Park neighborhood, staff recommends approval of listing of the property as contributive. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the owner. That concludes staff's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, does the commission have any comments or questions on the staff report? If not, the applicant may like to come in. Richard, I see you.
I brought something a little fun. Especially if you're a real estate agent, you'll really like it. It's the original sales ad from the Santa Ana Register from September 29th, 1927. My name's Richard Way. I live at this house. My wife and I have lived there for 2 years. I'm an architect, and I love getting into the history of this, so this commission is fun for me to talk to you guys. Bill Dixon was an interesting builder. He originally he was a real estate guy that came from Oklahoma, moved to California, went up to Fresno, became a newspaper distributor for a couple of years, moved down to Santa Ana, actually owned a supermarket for a year, and was going to move out and loved the weather so much he just had to stay and stayed and got back into real estate and built over 250 homes in the Orange County area. Had his home office on 19th and Ross in Floral Park, and even went to the extreme to build miniature golf courses. And he had his office on, I believe it was Main Street and 12th. So I would say he's a prominent builder, along with Allison Honor, who spent a lot of time building Floral Park. What was interesting to me was when I first looked at my house, it has a very unusual roof tile, and I found out it was made in Holland, and I didn't know if it was original or not until I saw this ad in the paper. This kind of grainy ad, but you can kind of see the checkerboard pattern on it. And, finding out about little details and different things about the house along the way was very interesting, from the Batch Elder and Claycraft tile to those interesting roof tiles where I found a stack of them on top of the roof, and they were stamped made in Holland on the back. And I found a place in Holland that actually still makes them, in the Netherlands, and a place in Corona that had a mold for the field tiles. I don't know who got them the mold, but they call them Holland tiles. And you'll see about 4 or 5 of Spanish Revival houses on Wilshire and Broadway that all have this kind of crazy roof tile. I don't know why it's always on a Spanish house, but...
What did you say the tile was called?
It's from Holland.
And what was the name of it?
Well, the original name of the roof tile was called Boulet Pan. It was from France in the late 1800s. They moved the factory over to the Netherlands, and I can send you the email, the dealer, the manufacturer of them over there, a guy named Remco. But a place in Corona actually has the mold for one of these. I don't know how he got them, but they call them Holland tiles. So I'd never seen them, being in this business for over 30 years. The first time I ever saw it on this house, but there's another house in Floral Park on Riverside Drive that has it. It's a Spanish house again. Probably Dixon built that one too. So it was fun researching it out. We restuck with the house and brought the old girl back up to speed, and we're proud to be here tonight. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. Okay. Madam Secretary, have we received any written communications?
No.
Okay. The public hearing is now open. If anyone in the audience wishes to speak on this property, would you please speak now? If not, then we will now close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for approval or comments. Okay.
I have a comment. I have a question maybe for the homeowner. Thank you for your ad. I'm enjoying reading this. And there's some things that are almost comical in here by today's standards, you know, with it has 23 electrical outlets and 3 radio outlets. But I do have a question, a term I've never heard before. It says handsomely Tiffinated walls. Does anybody in the room have any idea what that means? I've not heard that term before.
I never heard it either.
I've studied architectural history, so that's very interesting. I don't know if that's part of his, you know, advertising that he's doing here, because it's kind of almost tongue-in-cheek, some of it.
Kind of reminded me of kind of a Cal Worthington spirit.
Exactly.
But he was very passionate about what he did.
Yes.
You know, like no trade stuff and cash buyers. And all
Yeah.
those things.
You're not suggesting he would try to intimate that Louis Comfort Tiffany did something to the walls, sort of engaging in a bit of salesmanship, hyperbole. No salesman would do that.
No, that would never happen, I'm sure.
And don't you love the term here? It says, not a bargain house, but a quality house. I guess that's to say, don't bring me a low offer, you know.
Exactly. Well, he was selling for about $2,000 more than his competition at that time. So he's really trying to ram home that his house was worth it. Like, you buy my house and it's worth it. I mean, when you have 3 radio plugs, I mean, come on.
You have to pay extra for that, right? It's the new technology.
That was the Wi-Fi back then.
But you're right about the price. $8,000 was a lot of money for this time period compared to other homes in Floral Park. So he was asking top dollar for the house.
Yeah, $2,000 difference in those days, that was a fortune. That was a lot of money.
25% more, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
My only comment about the house is a beautiful home, and thank you for restuccoing it, and I'm sure you're doing other restoration work as well. I don't think we're concerned as a commission about the wall in the front of the house per se, but that's obviously been added and is not original to the house, which you can see by this ad that you've provided. But I do note that it still has the Hollywood-style driveway with the grass strip down the middle. So I'm glad to see that it's primarily original. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion? Commissioner Marashi.
I would like to make the motion that we adopt a resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-15 and Historic Register categorization number 2017-14, and recommend that the City Council authorize the City Manager and the Clerk of the Council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Richard A. and Diane M. Weed, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the City Manager and City Attorney.
Is there a second?
I would like to second that.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Marashi, second by Commissioner Ramos. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carried. 7? Is it 7 of us?
Yes.
7-0. Motion carried. Congratulations. Well done. It is a beautiful home, and you know, if you ever go this way, just take a minute and look at those, what are they called, Holland tiles? Holland tiles that he has, or Dutch tiles that they have up there. It is unbelievable on that, but congratulations, Richard. Okay, all right, moving on. This is the time and place for the public hearing on item number 2 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-46, Historic Register categorization number 201745, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2017-50 for property located at 2108 North Heliotrope. Staff will now provide a presentation.
Thank you again. The second item is being called the Martine House, and it's located at 2108 North Heliotrope Drive within the Floral Park neighborhood. The residence is a 1.5-story single-family structure constructed in the colonial revival style. It was built in 1942 by prominent local builder and developer Allison Honer. Staff would like to note that the information on our resolution in terms of the construction date is incorrect. It states 1947. The correct date is 1942. It is recommended that the property be listed on the register for its distinguishing characteristics of the colonial revival style and because it contributes to the overall character and history of Floral Park. Given these characteristics and its contribution to the neighborhood, staff recommends approval of listing of the property as contributive. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the owner. That concludes staff's presentation. I'd be happy to answer questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Does any commissioner have a question? Commissioner Rush?
Could I ask you, in terms of naming the house, the how do you pronounce it? Martien? Sharon Evans was the occupant of that home for an awfully long time. Why wouldn't it be referred to as the Martin Evans house?
And she recently passed away, is that correct?
She recently passed away in, I think it was August, or July.
I think given past practices of naming the properties after the first residence, I think that was in keeping of this naming. Certainly we'd be open to any suggestions for the renaming of the structure. Yeah, this says that the first known residence was Wilson J. Morris, and I think given the prominence of W.H. Dixon, the decision to name it the Dixon Morris House was at that time reasonable. So
it was named the what?
We're talking about the second house.
Second.
The one Heliotrope. I think you're
Sorry about that.
The first one.
2108 North Heliotrope.
Gilbert.
The Martine House, correct?
Yeah.
I think it'd be the same answer here. Let me just take a look. The first recorded occupants were Gilbert B. Martine and wife Anna J. Martine. And again, keeping with the practices of naming these structures based on either a prominent builder, architect, or the first residence on there. But again, we'd be open to kind of suggestions if the commission chooses.
Okay, when we come back and bring it back before the commission for a vote, Commissioner Rush, at that time, because Sharon, right, was such a prominent figure, we can then take this up as far as changing our record at this time and the reasons why. Okay, so that we can go forward. All right, is that okay with you?
You'll come back to me.
We'll come back when we bring this back. Okay. Okay. Now the applicant. There. How are you? I promised you would
More
be
show and tell.
Thomas.
Yeah, I didn't bring a copy for everyone, but and we don't. This picture is not dated, but I think based on the TV antennas, I almost forgot what to call them. It's been so long since I've seen one. This has got to be from the early 50s, I would guess. And if you notice the picture of the house, it looks exactly like this today, with the exception of the shrubbery. So I've got a rather long history in Floral Park. My grandfather was Thomas Giesler, who built 2317 Heliotrope in 1952, I believe. And my aunt, my mom's twin sister, still lives in the house. So that's been our family house my whole life. And if you know any sets of identical twins, they still are inseparable. Thankfully, they're both with us, going strong at 88 years old. So 2317 was our family house my whole life. Every weekend of our lives we spent there. And so riding our bikes through the neighborhood up and down, especially the part of Heliotrope that I'm now on with the oak trees, and so I've always loved the street. We will fast forward to the Halloween party that we were talking about north of Santa Clara 2 years ago. Normally we would have parked in my aunt's driveway, but the street was, so we parked south of Santa Clara. And when we got in the car to go home, we were living in West Floral Park, just up the street from Phil. We drove by a listing on the left side that has since been redone extensively, and it was in kind of disrepair. And my wife knew the listing agent, and I said, well, you should call her and ask her, why they didn't fix it. So my daughter and my wife the next day went and saw that, and the agent said, we've got another one down the street that's a little more turnkey. So the next morning I met and went and saw the house and fell in love with the house. It's quite a bit larger than our home in West Floral Park was, and with our daughter had moved from Pasadena to live with us again because of some changes in her health status. And we saw this house with the 1,300 square foot upstairs that's perfect, and we knew that we needed to find a way to do this. And it's a gorgeous, listen, we fell in love with it the minute we saw it. In the backyard, if you've been in the backyard, there's a mini version of the house that's maybe, 30 square feet. It's got the same roof, it's got the same siding, it's got the same little black shutters, it's got a little red door on it, and we've got a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old nephew and niece that, we knew, oh my gosh, they would love this house too. So that brings us up to today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay. Madam Secretary, have we received any written communication?
We have not.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this application? If not, we now declare the public hearing closed, and now I will bring it back to the commission for questions and a motion. Commissioner Rush, would you like to bring up your comments, please?
Well, yeah, just a suggestion that I think it appropriate to have the historic name be the Martin Evans House in honor of Sharon Evans, who was prominent in her activities in Santa Ana with the neighborhood, and that home served as a backdrop for an awful lot of activities. I know at one time it was a Philharmonic house of design back in I want to say that was in the early 80s, and I believe subsequent to that may have been on a Floral Park home tour. Do you ever know, Phil?
I don't remember being on the tour.
Yeah, it was once or twice in the Jack and Jill Guild Philharmonic House of Design for the Orange County Philharmonic Society. But Sharon hosted many events at her home and for the community and the political receptions and so forth. And she was prominent, and I think
like to second that, and just as a point of history, we have done this many times when somebody's been in the house 20 years or longer, I think is the kind of the benchmark we've used, and she far exceeded that. So I think it's a fitting honor.
I want to say her and her husband, she subsequently got divorced, I'm not sure thereafter, but they bought the house, I want to say in 74, somewhere in that vicinity, and she lived there up until about a year or so, maybe a year and a half before she passed away, but and the home was sold, and so she certainly exceeded the 20-year benchmark. So.
Okay. All right, let him go through the motion. You want to do the formal motion for us?
Where's the verbiage I have to?
House number 2.
Okay. So, Madam Chairman, I move that we adopt a resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-46 and Historic Register categorization number 2017-45, and recommend that the City Council authorize the City Manager and Clerk of the Council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Thomas and Monica Browning, subject to non-substantive changes approved to the City Manager and the City Attorney.
And the house.
And that the house shall be known henceforth as the Martin Evans home.
And I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Rush, second by Commissioner Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstention?
One abstention.
What? Two?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and one abstention. So the motion carries 6. How many do I have? 7. 7. Okay, 6 approved and 1 abstention. Thomas, congratulations. Okay, next one. Item number 3. This is the time and place for the public hearing on item number 3 for Historic Resource Commission, application number 2017-55, Historic Register categorization 2017-54, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement 2017-59 for the property located at 2013 North Heliotrope. Staff will now provide a presentation.
Thank you. This third item is called the Flag House, and it's located within the Floral Park neighborhood at 2013 North Heliotrope. The property is a 1- and 2-story single-family residential building constructed in 1940 by Allison Honer in the colonial revival style. It is recommended that the property be listed on the register because it has a distinctive architectural style and quality representing the colonial style in Santa Ana. Given its distinctive architectural style and quality and its contribution to Floral Park, staff recommends approval of the listing as key. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the property owner. That concludes staff's presentation. I'd be happy to answer questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Pedro. Does the commissioner have any comments or questions to our staff? If not, the applicant. Are they here? Okay, David or Lisa Nisa is not here. If not, then, Madam Secretary, is there any written communication?
There's not.
Okay. Now that the public hearing is now open, is there anyone in the public wish to address this application? If not, public hearing is now closed. Now bring the application to the commission for comments or motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application 2017-55, and Historic Register categorization number 2017-54, and recommend that the City Council authorize the City Manager and Clerk of the Council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with David M. and Lisa Nissan, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the City Manager and City Attorney.
Okay. Okay, that's the motion. All those in favor say aye. Oh, is there a second? Thank you.
I can second.
Second. Okay, moved by Commissioner Hardy, second by Commissioner Ramos. All those in favor? Hello.
That's my house.
Oh.
I just
Would you like to speak? We'll just hold this on here.
We were just about to cast a vote to toss out your application.
I was afraid of that. I'm David Nissen. I live at 2013 North Heliotrope Drive, and little comment about how we like our house, sort of thing, or yeah, just real quick. Family history: my mom was born on Victoria Street in 1927. My grandparents lived at 2410 North Park since the 40s until they passed away in the 70s. Our family has history in Floral Park. This house here probably has the biggest oak tree, I think, in all of Santa Ana. I don't think 3 people could put their arms around the trunk. It's French windows, hardwood floors, light. It's just a beautiful home. We love it. And I thank the council for considering our application.
Thank you, Mr. Lisa.
You've given us an elevation. We're just the commission, but thanks for the vote of confidence. I will say that the previous owner that you bought it from, the fellow that owned Jad Tech, and his name escapes me at the moment. What was his name, Phil? Jad Tech Security. But he and his wife are the ones that built the new garage and made the significant additions and changes.
D-Ball, I think it was.
D-Ball, that's
yes.
it. Yeah. Not wonderful people, and I don't know what architect they hired to do all of that, but I mean that's a fine example of how what he did you would not think was not original. I mean it's perfectly done, and they did a magnificent job of updating that house. You may have updated again since then, but that was done back in the early 90s.
I agree. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I kept getting mail for him, so I hired a private investigator and located him, and now we're friends.
Oh. You did locate him?
Yes, I did.
I was of the understanding he had passed away, but...
It might have been recently, but I know as of not too long ago, a year or two ago.
How about that? Well, I hope I'm incorrect, as Mark Twain said.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have a motion on the floor, okay? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstention?
I abstain.
Okay, motion passed 6-1. Congratulations, Mr. Newsom. Okay, now, this is the time and place for the public hearing on item number 4 for Historic Resource Commission, application number 2017-58, Historic Register categorization number 2017-57, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2017-61 for the property located at 2038 North Ross Street.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. The fourth item is being referred to as the Ridley C. Smith House, and it's located at 2038 North Ross Street in Floral Park. The property is a 2-story single-family residence constructed in 1927 in the neoclassical style. It's recommended that the property be listed on the register because it has really distinctive architectural style and quality representing the neoclassical style in Santa Ana, and just in general. Given the distinctive architectural style and quality and its contribution to the Floral Park neighborhood, staff recommends approval of the listing as key. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the owner. That concludes staff's presentation. I can answer questions at this time.
Thank you so much. Does the commission have any comments or questions of staff? If not, is the applicant here? Kelly, is it Pia? Not here. How do you pronounce the last name? Is it Pete? Pete? Pert? Pert? Okay, no problem. Okay. Okay, Madam Secretary, have we received any communication?
We have not.
We have not, okay. And with that, I now open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Okay, Mr. Nissen.
David Nissen.
Okay, when you finish, would you just complete a form for us?
Okay. My wife and I owned that house from 2003 to 2007, and it does have one of the best avocado trees in Floral Park in the backyard. And I think the house is truly worthy of this application. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. You know what? For the past couple of years, I have been chair of this commission. You're the first person that have ever stepped up during the public comment section of an application, and thank you for doing that. At least I have one underneath my belt.
I feel special. Thank you.
You are special.
Can I just put your name and then
Okay. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this property? If not, declare the public hearing closed, bring it back to the commission. And I'd just like to say, this is like if you go back east in Virginia, you know, old Virginia down there, looking at the houses back there in the colonial area, round about, you know, Virginia and then the historic parts of going down in the Carolinas, that you would see this type of home down there. This is just truly, you know, we are fortunate to have this neoclassical being brought here into California, and especially here in Santa Ana, as a distinctive attitude. I mean, I just feel like I'm Jeffersonian type of era, you know, of like a presidential type imaginary or something like that. But thank you so much for putting this on our historic register. Really, you know, I for one appreciate that. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Schaefer?
I just have a comment. First of all, I'm surprised this wasn't already on the registry, quite honestly, because it really is a standout house in the neighborhood. Almost anybody could identify it that lives in the neighborhood, because it is unique and different. And I just want to compliment the owners, even though they're not here. They do an incredible job of decorating every holiday. If you go by, I don't care if it's Valentine's Day or what, their whole entire two-story front porch is decorated, and it really, they are very festive people. They do an outstanding job.
Okay. Commissioner Rush?
I was just going to comment, and I suppose the owners, and sad they're not here, but they probably know this, but Ridley Smith was a prominent attorney in Santa Ana. He practiced with Robert Politiski, and they had their offices in a neat building, which is now part of the El Sol complex at I want to say 10th and Broadway, and he was also, it's not mentioned here, but he's a former exalted ruler of the Santa Ana Elks Lodge and was very prominent, of course, in city affairs. But yeah, it is a neat house, and I would echo Phil's comment. I'm shocked that this was not on the register already, so that's amazing. But anyway.
I'm glad you added that as a member of the Elks Lodge that you're looking out to put that in our historical register. Okay, anyone else on the commission? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving the Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-58 and Historic Register categorization number 2017-57. And likewise, that we recommend to the City Council and the clerk that we execute a Mills Act agreement with Kelly B. and Joanne Pert and Joanne M. Knutson Pert, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city manager and city attorney.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Schaefer, second by Commissioner Rush. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Even though they're not here, let's give them a hand. Okay, next. This is the time and place for the public hearing on item number 5 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-41, Historic Register categorization number 2017-40, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement -2017-45 for the property located at 2145 North Greenleaf. Staff, now your presentation.
This fifth item is being referred to as the Edwards House, and it's, as Chairman mentioned, it's located at 2145 North Greenleaf Street, and it's located within Floral Park neighborhood. The property is a one-story single-family residence constructed in 1925 by Roy Russell in the Spanish colonial revival style. It's recommended that the property be listed on the register for its exemplification of the distinguishing characteristics of the Spanish colonial revival style, and because it contributes to the overall character and history of Floral Park. Given its distinguishing characteristics and its contribution to the neighborhood, staff recommends approval of listing of the property as contributive. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the property owner. I do want to state that the property owners were not able to attend tonight's meeting. They did let me know. That concludes staff's presentation. I can answer questions at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? If not, the owners are not here, and so forth. Madam Secretary, do we have any written correspondence?
We do not.
Okay. Not, and now declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone in the audience wish to speak on behalf of this application? If not, public hearing is now closed. Bring it back to the commission for a decision.
I just have a couple comments first. Number one, the write-up says that this house was only $4,000 as opposed to our $8,000 house we approved earlier. So this is apparently half the house. And then also, it was owned at one time by R.C. Edwards, who was a very prominent tax accountant in town, and I don't know if their firm is still open or not, but they were in Santa Ana for a long, long time. And as the city grew, some of their business was agricultural people, and they sold land here that became developed and then bought in other areas like Imperial Valley, etc. So they sort of had a specialty in that, I know.
Okay, we can add that to your write-up, to add Mr.
He's in there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's how I knew.
Okay.
I just recognized the name.
All right.
I used to do my taxes.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion? Is there a motion? Commissioner Hippendale.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we adopt a resolution approving the Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-41, Historic Register categorization number 2017-40. And also, I move that we recommend that the city council authorize the city manager and the clerk of the council to execute a Mills Act agreement as specified here with Terry L. and Dana A. Carnes, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city manager and the city attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hippendale, second by Commissioner Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? No? Motion carries. Congratulations. Let's give them a hand. moving right along. This is the time and place for the public hearing on item number 6 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-51. Historic Register categorization number 2017-50 and Historic Property Preservation Agreement 2017-55 for the property located at 2203 North Flower Street. Staff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 6 is being referred to as the Jensen House. It's a single-story family residence constructed in 1936 in the minimal traditional house, and it's located in Floral Park. It's recommended that the property be listed on the register for its distinguishing characteristics of the minimal traditional style and because it contributes to the overall neighborhood of Floral Park. Given these characteristics and its contribution to the neighborhood, staff recommends approval of listing of the property as contributive. Staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement. Staff would like to make just one note. The image that was presented tonight is a little bit different than the historic description image that's presented on the exhibits. This is because the property owners did some improvements to their site, including a Hollywood-style driveway, and they've recently repainted the home. One last note, I was informed that the property owners will not be here tonight, or they're unable to attend tonight, so that concludes staff's presentation. I can answer questions at this time.
Thank you. Any questions to the staff? Okay, Commissioner Rush?
Is there like an alternative commissioners meeting that we don't know about that all these homeowners are at? Just wondering. I've never seen where we've had so many homeowners absent when their property's being considered. Seems so odd.
Maybe timing, you know, life happens.
Did I understand you to say this photograph that we have, which would appear to show no driveway, that's been rectified since then? We've painted the house and installed? I see. All right. Not that the driveway is a defining element of the house, but it does make one wonder.
There was a dead tree in the front yard that's been removed as well.
I see. Yeah, it looks dead.
Okay. All right. The applicants are not here. So, Madam Secretary, do we have any written communication?
We have not.
Okay. I now declare the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone in the audience that wish to address this application? If not, declare this application, the public hearing closed. Bring it back to the commission. I just have a comment on this property. This picture does not do it justice at all. You go there, and Nick, what's his name, Nick, that we talked to? This property is being landscaped as an English garden. This landscape that they have put in, this picture doesn't do it justice. And I hope that we get another one with all the work that he's done. And what was so interesting about Nick is that his parents really didn't like that he was going to be, you know, a landscape architect and so forth. And so he started doing this, and now his parents are saying, well, would you come over to my house and do my yard, right? And he's now telling parents, I don't have time, you know, because there is, if you look at the work that have gone into that property, just in the landscape alone, in making an English garden that complements this home, and you also have succulent plants that are there, drought-resistant plants that are in there. I would just like to ask staff to please go back. You need to include the driveway in there, but to update this picture because it does not do this home justice. And if you go by there, this is a showstopper, and I do hope that, this is in Floral Park, right? I hope that they would at least put their garden on your, you know, the front garden on your tour, or a house tour. and so forth, but it is well designed, it complements the property, and it is worthy of this nomination on that. Okay, so.
I have a comment, of course. I have the most comments, I think. This house for decades looked so terrible. And I see sometimes in real estate, I'll sell a house and the next person does improvements and it fixes up and gets better and better. But this house has undergone a dramatic transformation. There was no grass in the front yard. There was a dead tree, a hodgepodge of junk, really, in the front. And they had torn out the driveway, so it was literally dirt. So it looks dramatically better. Maybe the paint color isn't everybody's first choice, but it looks really handsome and nice when you see it in person. And I'm proud of the homeowners for really undertaking a big project inside and out. And so I haven't been inside the house, but I'm assuming that looks better as well.
Absolutely.
It had nowhere to go but up.
They work, Nick works every single day in that yard, every single day in the yard. And I said, don't you ever stop? He goes, no, keep on going, keep on improving. But that is really dedication right there. So, commissioners, do I have a motion? Oh, come on.
I'll make the motion, I guess. Okay, let me get back here to my notes here. Okay, number 6. All right. Okay, Madam Chairman, I move that we adopt a resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-51 and Historic Register categorization number 2017-50, and recommend that the City Council authorize the City Manager and Clerk of the Council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Nicholas Gillespie and John Hicks, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the City Manager and City Attorney.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Rush, second by Commissioner Hardy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, motion passed 6-0, 6-1, with one abstention by Commissioner Barashki. Let's give them a hand. Okay.
Can I say something, Lisa? Okay. He's 2 doors down from me, so I know John and Nick really well. Great neighbors. If you want to have neighbors, these are the guys to have. They're just outstanding. He couldn't make it tonight because his father-in-law's birthday is tonight at the same exact time, and his father-in-law is the one that helped him get in the house and has helped him out a lot.
Sure.
So he had to make a decision. Second thing is John was a professional photographer, Nick's partner, and this house was up for, they submitted it to Floral Park. Floral Park picked 3 homes to put in for the city most beautiful yard. Another home got it, not this one, but it certainly is a beautiful one. But when they did take the pictures to send to the Floral Park Committee, they did have drawings and things like that. So you may go back to John, Pedro, and ask him if you can look at his photographs, because he probably has an ideal photo. So, and he is out there every morning working. He loves his garden. Thank you.
That's dedication. Okay, moving right along. We're now on this time and place for the public hearing on item number 7 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-32. Historic Register categorization number 2017-31 and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2017-36 for the property located at 1318 North Baker Street.
Before I begin this next presentation, I did want to point out that there was an error in the listing of the property owners. On the agenda, the owner's name should read Saul and Cristina Avila, not Silva.
How do you spell the first name?
The last name?
No.
Saul, S-A-U-L.
Okay, and the last name is?
A-V-I-L-A, Avila. That's what you have as well?
Silva.
Sylvia.
It's Avila. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at my thing. Okay, so you're looking at, okay. Okay, I'm looking at the write-up and so forth, so. Oh, there should be. Okay.
Thank you. As mentioned, this property is located at 1318 North Baker Street. And it's being referred to as the MC Walker House, and it's located in Washington Square. The property is a one-story single-family residence constructed in 1941 in the minimal traditional style. It's recommended that the property be listed on the register for its distinguishing characteristics of the minimal traditional style and because it contributes to the overall character of Washington Square. Given these characteristics and its contribution to the neighborhood, staff recommends approval of the property as contributive. Staff also recommends that the property be listed, staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement with the property owner. That concludes staff's presentation. I can answer questions at this time.
Okay, thank you so much, Pedro. Okay.
I have a comment for Pedro. I just really appreciate the write-up that you did describing minimal traditional and referring back to FHA, et cetera.
Sure.
And all the write-ups were very good this time, so you're doing a great job.
I can't take all the credit. We have wonderful consultants. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Does the commission have any other questions to staff, comments? Okay. Is the applicant here? Oh, welcome. And you are Christina.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
It's an honor for me to be here tonight. Thank you. I've lived in Santa Ana, me and my husband, all our lives, born and raised. I would never dream of leaving Santa Ana. It's been an honor being raised and born here. I was born at the Santa Ana Hospital. I don't know if you are familiar with that hospital. That's no longer, right? It was down on Washington, from what my mom told me. I grew up living over by the Santa Ana College. And as I've grown up, and I remember going to the skate ranch. I don't know if any of you know about the skate ranch. I just have really good memories. And growing up, I grew up, again, reiterating what I said, at where the Santa Ana College is at on 10th Street in Bristol. When my husband and me, when we got married, we bought a condo over by the South Coast Metro area. And at that time, it was just kind of like a fixer-upper for us, and we always wanted to come back to this area of Santa Ana. Growing up, I always remember the Washington Square neighborhood being just a really beautiful neighborhood with the homes just being, ideally different from the other homes. It was kind of a thing where we were driving through, we were selling our condo, and we were driving through the neighborhood, and we saw that there was a for sale sign outside, and we just pulled over to get the number and said, oh my gosh, we were looking at buying houses, and we already had a realtor, but we decided, okay, we're going to pull over, and the lady opens the door, and she waves us in, and we look at each other and say, okay, let's get off, so we got off, and she's already showing us the home, and then all of a sudden, this other car that was exactly like ours pulls up, and she did not realize it, but she was waiting for that family to look at that house, not us. So I say this house was meant for us, and we just, it just was a miracle that we were able to get in there, and she basically said, well, he can wait, I'm with you guys, and so there was kind of like this battle with the house in the beginning, but she says, I love you guys, and she got to know us as we were walking through the house and said, I want you guys to be the owner of this home. So prior to us being there, it was Denise Harrington that owned the home. She took really good care of it. And we did do, pulled out a tree that used to be in front of the window. But it's an honor to be here tonight. And I would never dream of being anywhere else but in Santa Ana. I've had chances to move out of Santa Ana, but my heart lies in Santa Ana. Our kids were raised here, and we just love it here. And I wish other people would realize that Santa Ana is a great place to live. I get some people saying, "Oh, you live in Santa Ana? Have you seen Santa Ana?" You guys, people don't give Santa Ana enough credit, I think. And basically, I'm giving it all the credit. So thank you again for having me tonight, and I appreciate you allowing me to talk.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for putting, taking on an application and putting this beautiful home on our register. Okay.
I'd like to suggest that you consider running for city council next time.
Okay. Madam Secretary, have we received?
We have not.
None? Okay. I now declare the public hearing on this application open. Would anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application? If not, I close the public hearing. Bring it back to the council. Council, thank you for putting that in my commission. I used to be on the city council, for those of you who know, so the commission. To the commission for comment.
I have no comment, but I'd love to make the motion
Commissioner Raj.
to approve it. Okay, if I may, Madam Chairman, adopt a resolution approving Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-32 and Historic Register categorization 2017-31, and recommend that the City Council authorize the City Manager and Clerk of the Council to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Saul and Christina Silva, subject to non-substantive. Oh, sorry. Just seeing if you're listening. Saul and Christina Avila, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the City Manager and City Attorney.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Varashki. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, next on our agenda is Battalion Police for the public hearing on item number 8 for Historic Resource Commission application number 2017-53, Historic Register categorization number 2017-52, and Historic Property Preservation Agreement number 2017-57 for property located at 2005 North Greenleaf Street. Staff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the last item, but certainly not the least. It's being called the Ward House, and it's located at 2005 North Greenleaf Street, and it is also located in Floral Park. The Ward House is a one-story, single-family residential building constructed in 1925 in the Tudor Revival style. It's recommended that the property be listed on the register for its distinguishing characteristics of the Tudor Revival style, and because it contributes to the overall character and history of Floral Park. Giving these characteristics in contribution to the neighborhood, staff recommends approval of listing of the property as contributive, and staff also recommends that the city enter into a Mills Act agreement. I did also want to just state that the property owner has been improving the overall home, most recently restuccoing the home. So this picture as well is not the most current one. As I'll be doing with all of the homes, we'll be updating the historical descriptions with the most updated homes on there to reflect the improvements that the homeowners have done. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions to the staff? Commissioner Rush?
I, of course, have not been inside this home, but I'm just curious. The second-story window underneath the peak, it seems to be well done. Is that original? Do you know? Phil, you've been in every house in Santa Ana. Is that original? Do you know?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know the answer.
I mean, I looked at it and I couldn't tell. Yeah, I don't know. It just, to me, it seems a tiny bit out of place. Not horribly so, but just wondering. I mean, with an attic that is that big, I can certainly understand that at some point someone finished out the attic to make a bedroom or two up there. But just wondering, I'm just curious.
It's not something that's listed in our construction history, and it's not something that we've seen commonly in Tudor Revival style homes.
Yeah.
We can certainly look into it to see if it says an original window.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Do you happen to know, sir?
No, I bought the house like that. I bought the house like that, so I'm not sure. I was already, that was work that had already been done. So.
There's what, like 2 bedrooms up there?
No, it's 1 bedroom.
Oh, 1.
Yeah.
It's permitted? I mean, that square footage is included in your permitted square footage?
I'm not sure. I didn't check, so I don't know if staff would maybe know better.
Pedro, do you happen to know that?
I don't. We have to verify it, but that's included as part of the overall square footage.
All right.
Yeah, you know, the stucco, I just did it recently because there was a change in staff and nobody could, give me guidance as to what finish that I could use. So that's why, it was in that stage for a little bit. But I finally talked with Pedro. We squared that out and I got it stucco right now. I'm redoing all the windows, making them all functional. That's most of the time, only one of the windows slides up and down. So we're doing all the windows. It's got the original oak floors inside, and I got some original doors for the original crystal knobs. So trying to keep it. I think that a lot of houses should be on the Mills Act so they can't change the windows because that's one of the big things in Floral Park, that you want to keep the windows, and when they take those out and put in a nylon or vinyl windows, I think
the windows in the second story, are those stationary
windows.
or are they
No,
casement?
they open up. The ones you see right there, they open up. They're 2 windows. They're like exactly like the downstairs ones. They open in.
They're casement windows, or?
Yes.
I see. All right. I have no further questions.
Since you're up there, would you like to talk about your property?
Yes, I think it's got a nice curb appeal. I mean, all the windows I kept original. There's some French doors on the side that take a lot of work as the sun constantly beats on them. So, but it's a lot of maintenance on those. I wanted to get the stucco down first before I redid all the windows and all the wood trim. So now that I've got that done, I'm working on that and getting some landscaping in. So once we had to tear up the whole side of the house in order to get the stucco done. So then I'm working with Pedro on a couple other things. So
okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Have we received any communications, Madam Secretary?
We have not.
Okay. And with that, I now open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wish to speak on this application? If not, I will close the public hearing and bring it to the council. I am so sorry.
You're going to get us all in trouble here.
I know.
I think it's my fault.
Oh, it's my age, guys. Anyway, on this, any comments from the commission?
I kind of just wish that it had been more done before it came in front of us, because I'd love to see what he's going to do with the front bricks and the porchway and the painting and all that sort of stuff. Just
There's a lot of repairs. There's a lot of things, if you look around the property, that's broken, and the wood on the windows and so forth are really not in repair. Is this possible that I know that this is the last meeting of the commission, but, and so forth, can we bring this application back with the permission of commissioners back next year when there's more done? Because, I mean, number one, I couldn't support the application right now based on the condition of the property.
Thank you, Chair Christie. Appreciate the feedback on the item. As you know, the Mills Act is intended to allow folks to benefit from the tax breaks to work towards improvements to their property. This is a great example of one that is transitional. The applicant has been working with Pedro and assures us that things will be done as per staff's direction and our historic consultant's direction on the correct finish for the exterior, as well as following through with repairs to the original windows and doors. But as at your request, we can certainly entertain a follow-up item next year that would potentially result in the applicant being unable to benefit from the tax incentive for this calendar year. It is your way. However you'd like to proceed is a pure option.
Well, we also have, as far as permit for the windows on that second story, there's questions on that before we go forward. I mean, that's my comment. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Do we know what the timeline would need to look like so that they can benefit from those tax breaks? Is there a specific date? And if so, could we call a special meeting right before that?
Thank you for your question. Commissioner Ramos, we can entertain an additional meeting if the commission desires. We can look into the items and work with the homeowner to see if he may be able to complete the project by the end of the year. The deadline would be December 31st to have the Mills Act recorded. Typically, we like to have the items completed by, let's say, mid-November to allow us to get the city council with adequate time to close the item all the way through.
Would there be other properties that would come in front of us? Not this year?
Okay. Commission, I need a motion. Commissioners.
I was going to move approval for this in the spirit that I know some cities do exactly what you were just explaining, that the Mills Act is supposed to help them with the renovation of the house. And clearly he's undertaken that in the proper or right direction by coming to the city and working with staff. So in light of that, I would trust that he would do it correctly. I do have a comment during our commission comments at the end about homes that are on the registry that have done things like change out with vinyl windows. So we need to talk about how we handle the bad players, I guess. So in the meantime, I would make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving the Historic Resources Commission application number 2017-53 and Historic Register Categorization 2017-52, and recommend to the City Council and authorize the City Manager and the Clerk to execute the attached Mills Act agreement with Ernesto Estrada, subject to non-substantive changes approved by the City Manager and City Attorney.
I second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all those of no, no. All those abstaining? Okay, motion passed 6-1. 6 in favor, 1. Chair Christie with a no vote. Okay, congratulations. Let's give him a hand. Okay, we made it. Now is the time to move for staff comments. Staff?
Planning Manager Candida Neal would like to excuse herself. She excused herself from the meeting. She had to attend to other matters, but we have no comments this evening. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, now this is the time for commission comments. As your first meeting, Commissioner Ramos? How did you find it?
Well, thank you all, first of all, for welcoming me here today. I'm happy to be here representing the Community Development and Housing Commission. I also studied urban studies and planning, so it's very nice to be here and now learn a little bit more about our history here in the city. I'm born and raised, so this is a very exciting time for me. Thank you all.
Very good. High school did you go to?
I went to Wilson Elementary, Willard Intermediate, Santa Ana High School, and then UC San Diego. And I still live in Santa Ana. My family still lives here, and I'm now working in Santa Ana as well.
Very good. Very good. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Ramos. And I have a question for staff. What happened to the 2018 historic awards, beautification awards, or exactly what they're called, but I thought they were going to come before us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hardy. I don't have the information as to why the item isn't before us this evening. I've been a bit out of the loop, to be quite frank, on the status of that. I'm sure Canada has some more details. I'd be happy to research that and get back to you personally.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Commissioner Kendall.
Well, I'll congratulate the homeowners, particularly those that are here. And I certainly do want to welcome Commissioner Ramos to the commission. We're really glad to have you. And it'll be quite a long time until our next meeting. We'll have a number of holidays, so I want to wish everybody a lot of happy holidays.
Commissioner Rush.
Yes, well, welcome to Commissioner Ramos. And you have lowered the mean age of our group by a substantial amount, so congratulations to you. Congratulations to the homeowners for your new designation. We hope that you'll continue to lovingly care for your home, and to staff who worked so hard to do all the work necessary to bring that before us. Goodness, 8 properties in one meeting. I don't know if that's a record, but no, it's a pretty good number. So, and of course, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to guess that since the increase in the fees, we still stand at 0 applications. Is that right?
There's been less than 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it isn't 0, we could count them on the one hand of a thalidomide baby. So. Pretty bad. So those of you in the audience, I encourage you to write or contact your city council members and ask them to reverse this egregious fee increase, because it's going to, it's obviously having a devastating impact on further preservation efforts. So, and just as an aside, with regard to the last property that we analyzed, and I would have hated to see the property owner miss being able to take advantage of the tax savings, but I certainly understand and share a bit of Alberta's concern about, given the state of the repairs that are apparently as yet undone but ongoing at the property. Pedro, I'm assuming that there is some mechanism that if these repairs are not done, that there will be this will be brought back, or it'll be reversed or something. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we're actually in the process. Our hope is to kind of restructure our historic program to kind of address some of those concerns as well. With new state requirements, we are required to go and inspect homes every 5 years. And so what we'd like to do is bring these kind of points to the attention of the homeowners, and if they're not already addressing some of those, to make sure that they're addressing them. So,
yeah, okay. So that's something I suppose we'll discuss at our first meeting of the year, of the new year, right? And then I had a question about 1110 South Parton. Was that pulled or something? Or?
Was that
1110 South Parton?
That was amended.
Oh, it was just, oh, okay. All right, okay. Anyway, my son and I just got back from Prague and London. We were there for 10 days, 3 days in Prague and 7 days in London, and my goodness, as I'm sure all of you know who've traveled to Europe, we think of an old building as being 100 or 200 years old. Their old is like, 1,000, 1,500 years old or more. It's just remarkable. And of course, they don't have earthquakes either, so we have some challenges here they don't have. But I'm not sure which city I liked more from an architectural standpoint. Both of them remarkable in terms of the depth of architectural beauty there. So you're all here because you love architectural quality. So if you have a chance and haven't been there, I encourage you to go. But it was really a fun trip. So anyway, with that, I'll join Larry in wishing you all and my fellow commissioners a great holiday, and don't forget to vote.
Commissioner Moraschke.
Speaking of architectural beauties, there's a new show that I got a big kick out of that's on Home and Garden TV. I enjoyed it so much I actually showed it to Commissioner Hitterdale and Chairperson Christie. It's called Restored, and it's on Saturday night on the Home and Garden TV at 11 p.m. And the 2 episodes that I saw took place in Riverside, so it's something you can relate to in Southern California. And you can imagine Riverside has some beautiful older homes. And the one that we watched the show of was the original architect that did the Mission Inn did this home, a 1913 home. And it was just absolutely beautiful what he did with it. And you always learn something. I learned really what linoleum is. Linoleum is not the plastic stuff that you walk into homes today and see. It really is made out of cork and linseed oil. And the colors and the beauty and the vibrance of it was just amazing when he restored the 1913 linoleum. So if you get a chance to check that out. I want to congratulate all the homeowners. It is so exciting to see some people, when you knock on their door and you say, hey, we're here to talk, and they're like, come on in, let me show you all about the home. I love that. I love the enthusiasm because they're going to take care of the home and just keep it the masterpiece that it is. So congratulations to all of you. I want to thank Pedro especially for the hard work he's done and the outstanding presentations tonight, and the staff. You're doing a great job, Pedro. Keep it up. I also would like to welcome Commissioner Ramos. You're going to enjoy this. This is probably one of the funnest commissions there is. There's unless it's Tim talking about windows. If you get Tim on a window issue, or you get Alberta on a tree issue, then you got some real drama. But other than that, it goes pretty smooth. It's a lot of fun. Again, I just want to wish everybody happy holidays. Have a good year.
Okay, I hope I haven't alienated myself from the chair here because I made the motion on the last house. But anyway, a few things. First of all, Pedro, you did a great job on the write-ups, and they are the nicest ones we've seen in a while. So thank you very much. I know the city had multiple people working on this previously, and they weren't consistent. The detail was there. The homes were categorized correctly. So I appreciate that work that you did, and you're doing a fine job. So thank you very much. Congratulations to all the new homeowners with your homes on the registry, and welcome to Commissioner Ramos. I do have some questions for staff. Number one, Pedro, maybe you can tell me, are we now through the backlog of all those 100 applications we had before the fees jumped? Where are we?
We're not, unfortunately. We did make a big dent this last round. Back in July, we sent a letter to the homeowners who were eligible, but we had identified issues on their property. Some of those have complied, and you saw them today. Others have not. So the outstanding applications that are eligible have until December 1st to let us know and comply with the requirements to be considered under the vested amount that they paid, and then we'd be taking them to the Historic Research Commission in 2019. So
how many are there?
I'd say there's about 5 homes that are still eligible with issues identified.
That were paid under the lower fee?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And then regarding fees, what's our new ETA on that from the city?
So the fee study is still underway. We're looking at the HRC fees as part of the comprehensive update. It has not been adopted, and I can ask Vince, who's working on the fee update, to follow up and provide you with the latest on that.
I would appreciate that information coming to the commission prior to it being voted on at the city council so that we'd be aware of it and could give some input. We are the highest fees in Orange County by a significant amount. So I think
we're the highest in the state.
We may be the highest in the state. That I don't know that, but I know we're the highest in Orange County. And some cities like Anaheim actually do it for free because they realize the value of the preservation. I know sometimes when people look at things from a budgetary point of view, they're like, oh, we're losing money on this house. But you're really not. Having done real estate for 30 years in the city, if you've got 3 or 4 beautiful homes on a block, that raises everybody else up and those values. So it really does even out, I think, for the city. And certainly if you look at Floral Park, where we have the highest concentration, that has helped preserve that neighborhood, keep the prices very high, and not every house, not even close to every house, is on the registry. So the city is making a nice profit off of the property taxes. So we need to look at the big picture there, not just try to account for every penny and make sure that the city is getting that paid back in terms of what the applicant would pay. There are 2 properties on Greenleaf. One I've brought up repeatedly. It's the McFadden House. I believe the address is 2121. It's completely overgrown. You can't see it from the street. I know there's multiple code enforcement issues. I'd love to know an update on that, if there is one. And then there's another house that is across the street and down one door from the Greenleaf house we just put on, our number 8. That was put on the registry 2 or 3 years ago, and I noticed that it has vinyl windows in it, and those were not there when it was put on the registry. So we need to come up with a policy of what we're going to do with people that are bad players. I know we had a problem with the Maharaji house on Heliotrope previously, and they promised to change some windows, but they're still there. So we need to figure out how we're going to handle that, and I don't know if that requires a code change or something from the city point of view, but if we can find people.
If they have a Mills Act contract, there are terms in the Mills Act that we can enforce.
Okay, because I believe that the house on Greenleaf, and I think it might be 1918, but I have to drive by and look at the address. I could email that to Pedro, I guess. So that's a house that 2 properties on Greenleaf that I'm concerned about their condition. And then I would just like to say it was a good night, I guess, for live on Heliotrope or Ross, because we had a lot of houses on there. And that is the other thing I wanted to say is the show that Commissioner Marashi mentioned is a great show, and Brett Waterman, the contractor on that show, used to live in Floral Park. And when he sold from Floral Park, he moved to Riverside, and apparently he's doing quite well out there since he's on TV now.
I thought because he wore a cowboy hat, I thought he was from Texas or the Midwest.
I never saw him wear a cowboy hat in Floral Park, so I don't know if he's balding and tried to cover up or what the deal is, but that's a new one on me. I never saw that before. Those are all my comments. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is a really interesting show, what they do and how they just, you'll learn a lot. It is at 11 o'clock at night, so DVR, tape it, so you can watch it the next day. In fact, they're having a marathon tonight, aren't they?
October 11th.
October,
all-day marathon.
all-day marathon, so just go in and just tape all of them, that's on there, but that's really, the one in Riverside, we saw that linoleum being restored with linseed oil and everything. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely. It's not the linoleum that we look at, that's in some of these homes nowadays. This is really something astonishing that went with this house. So I'd just like to piggyback once again on with the fees, okay? We are now at a time and crux in our city that we have other areas in our city that have historical significance. Logan area, Sandinista area, Delhi area, and then going into Central City area. These are homes that were built during the time, for our medium income, military family, distinctive styles. They can't afford to be on our register, and it's a shame that our council has priced them out as far as protecting their history. Logan has been, because the market that had all of the, going back to World War I, all of the Hispanic residents in Santa Ana that served in the military, and it was defaced by graffiti and people got upset. But that's how long this resident area has been in Santa Ana during that time. And why are we alienating them? Sandinista, okay, on the west side. Why are we alienate them? As far as saying, look, we contribute over the historical time. In fact, next year we'll be 150 years old. And they have contributed to our city's growth and history. So once again, I'm contacting all of the council members and contacting even the candidates that are running, on there saying, why would you alienate, and the city manager, once again, why are you alienating those sections where people want to preserve their heritage, but they're middle class, middle to low income, they can't afford this fee, and it's a shame. It's a black eye when you have other cities that don't even charge in Anaheim. Orange? Does Orange charge?
Orange charges, but it's
very minimal, nominal as compared to our fee. So once again, I'm going to be working very hard and trying to get the city to, if I have to sit on the front steps of City Hall, or change, or, but do something to say it's not fair. It's not fair. If the city's good, highest and best practice of any city is to have things that is equally applied where everybody can benefit, not just certain areas on that, okay? I would like to thank the staff because for all your hard work this year. We had changes in staff, we didn't have staff, and you guys are troopers as, pulled together on that to bring homes and applications to our commission here. We did have some little bumps on the way and so forth, and some issues came up and everything, but we worked together. We got a clear understanding of what happened, and and we worked together, and that's what the commission is all about, for the best interest of everyone's staff, residents, and the commission. So I want to thank you. Thank all the homeowners, because without you, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here. But we are here to protect your interests. And then we had the best presentation ever at the first part of the year, as all the commissions were asked to do a presentation to the city council. And when we went up in January, February, was it, because it kept being posted, and we educated the council on exactly what we do. They had no clue. And come to find out, of all the presentations, we were number one. You know, we're very proud of that, okay? And once again, I want to thank the commissioners for your time and efforts in bringing, you know, questions and issues up that, you know, that we can bring forward and get them answered, you know, or come in and look at new policies and in order to protect some of the things that, well, how do we resolve this? You know, what happens if this? That have never been done before. So I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for your time and effort. It is a lot of time that you're sitting there and researching and bringing back information. I mean, you know, Larry, here's a Dale down there, he goes in and he research history and bring back in order to add to our description or the history of that property, and that's on his own time, you know. So you can see the dedication, Commissioner Rush, his dedication and knowledge of there. Commissioner Rushke, who knows, you know, Floral Park, he's the president of the association over there, home to, and of course, have you not seen a Schaefer's name all over the place over there? I don't think there's a property that you haven't. Do you know?
Yeah, there's some. You can't get them all.
And Commissioner Hardy, I mean, she's in Hettinger Park, one of the older ones on the east side. Beautiful homes over there. We even have Queen Anne homes, right?
No, we determined that we did not.
Okay, that was not in there. But anyway, on the east side, your east central area of Hettinger, right?
No.
South side, down that way.
South Main.
South Main area. Rich, beautiful homes that you see there in her neighborhood, and she's been there many, many years as a neighborhood leader and also a preservationist that's there. And Commissioner Ramos, we're going to welcome you again. You're going to learn a lot on this commission and everything that you never knew about Santa Ana, even though you grew here. Okay? And Boy Scout Mr. Doe and your father, we hope you enjoyed the commission meeting. We enjoyed having you here and that you learned a lot. Okay? And once again, you're going to be meeting with Commissioner Schaefer to go over any questions and history that you may want to know. And with that,
Alberta, aren't you going to ask the young Boy Scout to make a 5-minute talk about, because he's doing a badge on communication? Don't you think you should be delivering a speech to us?
No.
Huh? Did you want more than 5 minutes, young man? Huh? No? 3 minutes?
No.
Oh, please come forward. This is your 3 minutes of fame. No? Well, how are you going to get that badge in communications? We want to make this as painful and memorable as possible. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't listen to him. We're just happy that you are working on the badge and you chose us, you know, to meet the requirements of that particular badge. When my son was in the Scouts, I had 4 badges that I was advisor to on that. So I know the dedication and the time that it takes in getting those badges and all the work. So once again, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody. And let's hope 2019 be the best and brightest ever. And with that, I adjourn the meeting for 2018.